Hi again, everybody. It's Kevin Canessa coming to you from the home studio today on this, the 22nd day of August in the year 2023. Sure hope you're enjoying your Tuesday, no matter where it is you are in the country. 77 degrees here in the Northeast. Nice day today, so hope you're all enjoying it. And as you do each and every Tuesday, you welcome me into your home so that I can bring you this week's news. But before we do that, I just have a housekeeping item to get out of the way. Believe it or not, we are approaching Labor Day, which is just hard to believe how quickly this summer has gone. So next week on the 4th, a couple of weeks from now, on the 4th of September, we will be closed. And we have the change in deadlines on the screen. Display in real estates will be due on Thursday, August 31st. And then on Friday, September 1st, classifieds due by 2 p.m. and obituaries by 10 a.m. So it's just hard to believe that Labor Day is here already and the kids are getting ready to go back to school around here. Where did the time go? What a quick summer it has been indeed. So I just wanted to get that out of the way for everybody. Now, before we get to today's news, we welcome in Manny Ventoso. And Manny was in Spain. I don't know if he's still in Spain. It's a couple hours ahead if he is. So we welcome Manny into the broadcast and thank him and everybody else who is joining us from around the country today. So you don't just have to be in Kearney or in West Hudson, South Bergen, or Eastern Essex County to join us live here. So we welcome in Manny and everybody else. This week's newspaper, the front page, is a little bit complicated. Manny says he's back in town, so that's good. Welcome home. Glad to see you're back safe, buddy. That is good news. The first story was brought to me by Father Alex, the pastor of Our Lady of Mount Carmel Church. Now, you really can't grasp the enormity of this statue that they're putting up at Our Lady of Mount Carmel Church in Nutley, but it's 8 feet tall, and it is just a behemoth, really. And Father Alex thinks it's one of the biggest in the area, and I can't imagine that there are many statues bigger than 8 feet tall. And they're going to be dedicating the church at the end of the month. Bishop John Felici, who is a retired bishop, will be in town to bless it. So if you're so inclined, the information is available about where you can go and when the blessing will take place of this beautiful statue. But check it out when you get a chance. It really is a beauty. And the people of the parish paid for it. They all got together, raised the funds, paid for it, and had it built and sent here to the United States. Gorgeous statue of Jesus in Nutley. The Tan Mom is back in the news again. Can you imagine this? After 10 years, that, believe it or not, that whole scenario went down 10 years ago with the Tan Mom, Patricia Stoncel. She is running for the United States Senate against Rick Scott, the incumbent. Now, I don't think she has a chance in all heck of winning this election, but I did hear she has a reality show in the works. So what better way to get publicity for your reality show than to file the necessary paperwork to run for the United States Senate? Now, would it be so bad if she beat Rick Scott? If you've lived in Florida like I did, you know the answer to that, but we'll see what happens. But, you know, what I never realized, I guess being 10 years ago, was that she was never indicted on the crimes that she was accused of doing, which was child neglect by letting her then 5-year-old child go into the tanning booths in Nutley and get a big tan, and it wound up she had burns on her body. But she denied that she ever allowed the kid to do it, and a grand jury in Essex County never indicted her, so she never faced a jury of her peers. All the charges were dropped on her, and now she finds her way working into a bid for the United States Senate. Where else would she go after a tanning booth than the halls of Congress? Well, she's back in the news. That story was broken by TMZ, so you can imagine that this was a worldwide story. Now, for those of you from Kearney who have been following the race for mayor, you know that Carol Jean Doyle, the council president, and Peter Santana, the interim mayor of Kearney, both have announced that they will run in the election in November. Well, don't you know, Sid Ferreira, who ran for mayor 2 years ago, who ran for 4th Ward councilman last year, and who was on the ballot to run for state assembly, this time as a Republican, will now run for mayor as well. A very, very interesting development, because a race for mayor with 3 candidates changes everything. It really does. It really does. So here's what you got to remember. Both Doyle and Santana are Democrats. Ferreira now registered as a Republican. He was independent last year, and 2 years ago he was a Democrat himself when he ran, but he's running now as a Republican. When you take 2 Democrats against 1 Republican, that throws everything up in flux, because there were what I would have envisioned been a lot of Republicans who are left in Kearney, and you would be surprised. I've seen the voter lists, and there are still more Republicans in Kearney than most people realize. This opens the race wide, and anything can happen on Election Day, November 7th, 2023. So with Ferreira's name in the race, and Carol Jean Doyle, who has already submitted her petitions, and Pete Santana, this could go any way. It really can. It was already a wild race between Carol Jean Doyle and her 50-plus years of experience, and Pete Santana, the interim mayor right now, and now it just throws it wide open. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens, and I am sure this campaign is going to be entertaining, so watch out for what lies ahead in the next 8+ weeks. It is going to be interesting, to say the least. Now, as we move into the inside of this week's paper, if you have not heard this yet, First Ward Councilman George Zapata was chosen to be the clerk to the Hudson County Board of Commissioners. This is a position that has traditionally been held by somebody from Kearney. And I think most of you will know that the person who had the position before Zapata was Al Santos. He held that position for close to 20 years, a little less than that, but. And the idea was that when Al resigned his mayorship and went on to be a Superior Court judge, that somebody from Kearney would get the position, and he did. And it's George Zapata, who is a member of the Kearney Council. He has been an elected Kearney councilman for 8 months, since January 1st, 2023. And prior to that, he spent several years as an elected trustee on the Kearney Board of Education. So he starts off with this $109,000 a year salary, and we wish him nothing but the best of luck. And we also welcome in Henry Atwell, our good friend. Henry, good to see you, buddy. Thank you for popping on. Henry Atwell, of course, is the longtime proprietor and owner of Skylar Cab. So we hope you're doing okay, buddy. Good to see you. Hudson County Prosecutor Esther Suarez and the prosecutor's office and a whole bunch of other dignitaries will be in West Hudson Park on Thursday at 6 p.m. for a candlelight vigil to honor those who have suffered domestic abuse. And they pulled one of these off last year in North Hudson Park, and now this year it will be in West Hudson Park. So if you are so inclined, do show up for what will be a very dramatic event. It's always very stunning visual to see the candles lit and people speaking about domestic violence and people who have survived domestic violence. It's a horrible, horrible epidemic that's going on in this country, and one that we see so often in a police blotter, and I hate that it is such a prevalent issue, but it is. And what Esther Suarez is doing is a very good thing. Folks, this is especially for the elderly people in your lives. People are already scamming. This has been going on for over a week already, to prey on people and their vulnerabilities and their sympathies for what's going on in Hawaii with the fires in Maui. There are so many scammers who are already calling up and saying that they're running charities to support the people of Maui and all that's going on there with those horrible fires that have killed so many people. Be very, very cautious. If you get a phone call from anybody claiming to be from a charity, do your homework. Don't give money unless you're absolutely certain. Hang up, call them back, search the names of the charities, because there's a good chance, unfortunately, you're going to run into somebody who is not on board with any charity, certainly not going to send any money to anybody in Hawaii, and going to take your money, and you're never going to see it again. So read the story with some tips. It's a very good piece that we put together, and I think everybody should be aware it's horrible what goes on. There are a bunch of letters this week, the most we've had in a long time, so I hope you will check those out on page number 6. Mike Gontarchuk has a police blotter this week that is an interesting one, where a man was arrested after going to a concert for Guns N' Roses at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford. Our own Jason Bernstein has 3 sports stories this week, as if you can believe this, the football season is getting ready to begin. I just can't. You know, we've heard that Aaron Rodgers is going to start or play in this week's game for the Jets. High school kids are preparing and getting ready. Where does the time go? It seemed like we were just finishing hockey season. Football season's back, and hockey season's only a couple of weeks away, too. So check those stories out. Vinny Ortieri has a couple of crime stories this week from the Lyndhurst Police Department, so I hope you'll check those out as well. And as we do each and every week, there are 2 pages of classifieds, and there are plenty of job openings and apartment availability. So if you're looking for a place to live, even though the rents are, wow, I don't even know what to say about rents anymore, do check those out on pages 16 and 17. And you will probably find something. Whether you can afford it is another question that I'll leave up for you to decide. So that's going to do it today for this edition of the Observer Live. I want to thank Manny Ventoso for joining us. He's back in town after spending time in Europe. Henry Atwell, our good friend who has been with us for many, many years watching the Observer Live. Manny has too. And anybody who else was out there watching, I know you're out there, but not everybody is speaking and chatting. Joanne McNeil is here too. She just let us know she is here. So, Joanne, thank you for popping on and saying hello. You know, I probably should have said this at the onset, but if you ever want to discuss anything that we have on the agenda or anything else that's related or not related to our towns, all you have to do is take your phone, use the camera, and scan that little QR code that you see on the screen, or type in from a web browser bit.ly/obguest, and we can pull your picture live, your video right live onto the screen. In fact, let me show you where it would appear. I'm not sure if you can see, but it'll say guest 1 right there. You would be right there, and you'd be able to join me live. It's a little too late this week, and I should have said it earlier, but you can become part of the broadcast and share your opinions. And you can talk about anything you want. We are not FCC regulated, so you can speak your mind and join us. So even that it's not going to be this week, one of these weeks, when you're up for it, if you see something on the screen that you're interested in talking about, you know, I'm sure there are plenty of opinions out there about this mayoral race. Join us, and we will let you share those opinions for as long as you want to right here on the Observer Live. But we'll try it again next week, and hopefully somebody will be the test dummy to be the first one to do it and actually talk. So we'll see what comes from that. We will be back 1 week from today, but of course, if anything happens in the course of the next week, we will join you live. It hasn't happened in a while, but if any kind of breaking news does come up, we'll join you then. In the meantime, we hope you enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, the rest of this week, and when we come back next week, I'm sure there will be plenty of new updates with this mayor's race and all the other things going on in and around the area. So from the home studio, Kevin Canessa signing off for now, and we hope to see you back here again very, very soon. Take care, everybody, and have a good rest of the day. Bye-bye.